Okay, everything sorted. A very warm welcome to our kind of webinar, or more or less a product launch. Today we are very happy and excited to introduce the AI Research Assistant, which is an addition to Mara, to our review and reputation management platform. Most of you joining today know Mara. Still, it makes sense to quickly introduce Mara to those who don't, because the Research Assistant obviously also builds up on what Mara is. So again, we're a reputation management tool, the easiest way to a 100% response rate. There is one central inbox for all the reviews and customer feedback that you get. We have the highest quality AI replies that we propose to you automatically for you to publish. We draft all of these responses overnight. This is where Mara kind of is coming from, answering guest feedback. And then the platform evolved. It evolved to providing very, very high quality sentiment analytics, so that you quickly understand when working with the data, what is it that customers are talking about that they like and that they don't like about your property. And all of the work in the last years made Mara the best ranked reputation management tool on Hotel Tech Report with 4.9 out of 5 stars, and winning the best reputation management software Hotel Tech Award 2 years running. We're building up on that, and we are ourselves realizing that the reason for new customers to decide for Mara is still obviously review replies and having kind of the best quality replies to reviews, which is super important. But the, let me call it, guest intelligence layer becomes more and more important when it comes to deciding for Mara as a reputation management tool. So we evolved from a review management tool to a guest intelligence tool, really. And with the AI Research Assistant, we're building on that. Now, having said AI Research Assistant quite some times, with me today, I forgot, obviously, is Toby, my dear co-founder, responsible for product development, guiding the dev team, and so on. So Toby, handing over to you, can you briefly tell us, what is the AI Research Assistant? What is it supposed to do? What kind of problem is it supposed to solve?
Yeah, sure. And hey, everyone in the room, happy to welcome you and great to have all of you. To make it very brief, to explain it very brief, you can imagine the AI Research Assistant to be your digital AI assistant that knows Mara in and out, every data structure behind the scenes, all your analytics data within Mara, and who can also read reviews for you. And you can basically create any kind of task for your digital AI assistant. And the AI assistant will then do the analysis for you, will dig deep into the Mara data and come up with a report that ideally fits exactly what you were looking for. And doesn't stop that, but actually delivers this report directly into your inbox or the inbox of your colleagues. Our goal with that is obviously to make this important guest feedback, give that in the hands of every hotel member in your team. And what we observed in the past is oftentimes that there is like a handful of people who are really working with guest feedback, that have access to Mara or to tools of our competitors, and the remaining part of the hotel team oftentimes does not learn from this feedback directly, and is always dependent on a person with Mara access to share knowledge. And what you can do with that now, and how you can change this process, is what we're excited to show you now.
Yeah, the one thing I forgot, as always, there's a little comment section in this tool. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar or afterwards, towards the end, just put it there. We try to monitor and answer this. So the idea, put in my words, I would say the assistant basically is like everything that you can do with Mara when you dig into the data, when you try to create a report for executives, your own, for a department or whatever, everything you can do with Mara and the data that's in Mara, the assistant can do for you. It's really meant to be kind of our end goal is this is really your kind of digital human quality level assistant providing reports and analyses for you the way you want them. To make that very tangible and give already at the beginning, give you an idea before we show you how you set things up and so on, which is, by the way, very easy. You'll see later on. To make it tangible, it makes sense that we take a look at results already. So Toby, maybe you can show us some results because we put some work in the last weeks into creating templates, ready to use templates for you. And Toby, handing over to you, give us an idea of what this thing can really do.
Yeah, happy to do so. So first of all, you'll find the AI Research Assistant in your navigation on the left on this AI button. When you click here, you land in this view here where you can basically create your own task for your for the AI Research Assistant or just use one of our existing templates. Before I dive into very short word of setting the stage and expectations. This is in beta, we like to put new developments in the hands of our users, of our customers, as early as possible. We believe it already creates a lot of value, but there might be some early hiccups, and we would be super happy if you don't get frustrated, but really let us know so that we can improve them day by day, week by week. So if there's anything you find that isn't perfect from a UX perspective, from the results that are generated, from whatever, please let us know. Shoot an email to one of us or just hit this need help button, and the feedback will reach probably me very soon. But now let's dive into the quickest way to get started with the AI Research Assistant is choosing one of our templates. So we put quite some effort in creating the first 8 templates that we believe create value already, and I'd like to show you 2 of them quickly. And the first one is the what to fix report. The idea, our idea for when creating this template was getting very quickly very actionable insights about a property, what should be improved, what are common guest complaint patterns that should be improved that actually harm the ratings overall. You see already with all the templates, they are either on a property level or on an account level. This is a template on a property level, and I'll show you in a second how you can activate that. But before, it's very, I think it's a good idea to have a look at the sample PDFs of those reports. If you have a few minutes, it's worth checking out all of them so that you get an idea of the final structure. And we'll do that for the what to fix report now. So this is an example. This is what a what to fix report looks like. It will always have a similar structure. And this particular resort has been created for the Mara resort, which is actually real property in our demo accounts, a real hotel that is analyzed. We just anonymized the name to Mara resort. And in here, we structured the report to have an executive summary that lists 3 quick wins in the top and 3 strategic actions. It always it also lists the total impact in terms of what is the impact on your overall star ratings, meaning this particular topic here has an impact of minus 0.27 stars on a 0 to 5 Mara score scale, which is already quite significant here. And then in the bottom, I will quickly scroll through it. You'll get a complete fixed list of all items the assistant believes are relevant to consider for fixing based on analyzing all your Mara analytics data for this property. I'll quickly go scroll through the items. So it's basically a list of different issues that are that the assistant found with some more details, and we can maybe look in one of them so that you get an idea. It tries to make it quite tangible and detailed. So in this case, the number one complaint is pool water temperature and missing warm whirlpool options. There's some details in here. There's also a quote, also translated into English here, a proposed fix. And also you see the impact and the number of reviews that mention this particular problem in the last quarter. So by default, this template is always looking at the past quarter to have like a little bit more data and not get influenced too much by just a handful of reviews. But you can change all of that, and we'll show you how to do that later on.
One thing to add, sorry.
Go ahead.
Maybe you can reopen, but also not really important. Already touching on the question we got from Paula. You saw the impact, and the impact is kind of how many stars do we think, or does Mara think this topic or this problem deducts from your overall rating? So for the pool temperature down below, we had the minus 0.37, which on a 5-star scale is quite something, quite significant. And the assistant really, it doesn't kind of only read reviews and then summarize it somehow, but it really uses the data that is in Mara already, and the very strong sentiment analysis and the quantified sentiment analysis that we have within Mara. It uses all that data to actually quantify real problems, not just, you know, one person said something and then suddenly it's an issue for the hotel. So we try to make that sure. And for the rest of the question, Paula, we will probably answer that later on.
Cool. Another report I'd like to show you also to show you how different reports can look like is the monthly executive report, which is on an account level. And the idea is here, we heard from a lot of customers that they will compile like an executive report month over month to their leadership and executive team. And oftentimes it looks quite similar. It's mainly a report of the main KPIs, and this is what we try to accomplish here. So in this case, the report looks completely different. It just shows mainly data and the core metrics. In this case, it starts with an executive summary with the key account performance regarding the Mara score, the response rate, the review volume. We directly see Mara score improved, response rate dropped in the last month in April versus March in our account, and review volume increased. And then we created the template in a way that it drills down in each of those metrics and shows a detailed table comparing all properties in the account. So here we're looking at an account with 10 properties. We anonymize the names here, but there is real data and real hotels behind each of those. And you see basically for Mara score, which hotels dropped in Mara score in April versus March. What was the main driver here? For example, staff for this hotel dropped from 4.69 to 4.38, quite significant for just 1 month. Others improved, and you'll see a similar deep dive for response rate here in the bottom. I'll just quickly scroll through the report and review volume, which gives you an idea which properties in your account had the strongest influence on the change, positively or negatively. This is just how we build an executive report. But I'm sure, and we heard that from customers, that you may have a different taste when it comes to specific reports, which is why it's also possible to build your own custom reports from scratch. But before we show you that, I'll quickly show you how easy it is to set up and get started with the templates. So what you need to do is basically press use this template I'll just choose the what to fix report, which is a property report. I'm selecting the Mara resort for that. Then I can select the schedule. So I can choose if it should run on a daily basis, weekly basis, or on demand. On demand means whenever I hit a run button. In this case, I want to have it, I want to run, I want the assistant to run this analysis every month on the 3rd of each month. 8 a.m. is fine for me. And afterwards, I can add recipients. I can add my own email address, of course, but I can also add any kind of email address yeah, any kind of email address who should receive this kind of report. So I'm adding gm@mararesort.com in this example. It tells me this is a person outside of the Mara account, but also people outside of the Mara account can receive reports that are created, and that's it. That's really it. And as we see now in the overview screen, we have this what to fix report, 0 executions. It would run the next third of the coming month. I could also start it manually, and that's really it. This is why I would strongly recommend checking out the templates because they're coming from conversations we had with customers, interesting things they wanted to accomplish with Mara, but couldn't, at least not easily. This is how we came up with this initial set of 8 templates. Yeah, and I think with this, I would hand over back to you, Max, to show us what else can be built with the AI Research Assistant.
Yeah, thank you. Because this is really also kind of the beauty of the whole thing. We know from talking to you that reporting at each and every group, hotel, whatever, looks different. And this is not only about reporting, right? It's also about being able to let it do research like this on-demand tasks. This is really why we built this. We wanted something that A, can consume all the data that you have in Mara, and B, can generate reports the way you actually need them. So you're completely free in defining what it can do. And to show you, yesterday I did some reports, but I first want to show you how easy it is to actually create such a report. So the only thing that you have to do is click this create new task in the top right corner. And then we get to kind of a chat interface. And the thing I did yesterday evening was, hey, my boss wants to see how our rating, the number of reviews, and our response rate develop month over month from the beginning of 2025 until the end of March 2026, wherever that's the time period, but you are free to define whatever you want. She also wants to see this for the most important platforms. Which platforms do we get the most reviews from? Right? I don't know. Please, dear assistant, please look for it. And then just to have added something else, can you also let me know what the issues were that had the highest negative impact on our rating for each calendar quarter? Now I sent this. The research assistant thinks about this a little and potentially asks me follow-up questions. For example, what's the scope of analysis? Do you want to do that for all properties or for a specific property, region, or a cluster? So a cluster of hotels that we have set up in our demo account. And I then say for Mara Resort. And that's really all. Now it proposes to me what the task should do, shows me what it thinks is the most promising way to do it. I can obviously read that and see if that fits what I want to do. In parallel, Mara builds that. It tells me what it thinks the ideal output shape and output format is for that report as I requested it. And now it's done. I've built this. Let me know if anything needs changing. I'll now simply continue. I'll leave the schedule at on demand. You've seen that you can theoretically do that recurring. I will not add recipients now. And this is it. It's now set up. I can hit run now, which I do. It starts in parallel now, and I go back to the overview to quickly show you. We have the overview, we have the executions. That one's queued now. This is the task description that Mara built from your instructions. That's all. You can, if you see something in the report that you don't like, you can edit this. Or the even better way to do it would be to tell the AI agent what to change, right? I want to have, I don't know, a graph over time, not a table. Whatever you want, put it here, and it tries to adapt the analysis instructions and the presentation guide for you, so that you get the result that you want. Because that takes a little time. I've done that yesterday evening. It's the exact same instructions that we just saw. It ran for 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Toby, can you mute yourself? Sorry. It ran for 9 minutes and 30 seconds, and then it was done. You see what it did with our instructions. It shows the Mara score from January to March, the review volume in terms of the peak month, the response rate. It gives you a summarization of the whole report. It gives you the overview that you asked for month over month for the Mara score, a descriptive text, the review volume, and the response rate, which looks fluctuating, but it's between 92 and 99, so very high. Then it analyzes what's the most important platform, and then gives you the graphs you asked for the three most important platforms: Booking, Google Maps, and Expedia. And then down here, because we also asked for it, per quarter, the top 3 negative impact issues. How many reviews did you get regarding that issue? What was the impact on your overall rating? Yeah, gives you an overview of exactly what you asked for. You can ask follow-up questions. So if you see anything, for example, in the issues that you would want to understand at a deeper level, you can ask a follow-up question. Hey, I saw in Q1 there was a problem with room style and atmosphere. Bad example, but I think you understand what I want to show here. Can you tell me more about what guests actually said and what the problem in that regard was? And then again, if you saw anything here that you didn't like or want to be, want that to be presented differently, you can head back to the task description, give that feedback to the agent, tell us how you would want to change that, and then the agent will adapt for you, and you can execute that again. One more example, because I also saw that there is a lot of questions coming in, which is nice. I wanted to show you another example, and that was, you just saw it asked me about the clusters, right? So we have in the demo account, we have the 10 hotels are sorted or grouped in clusters. And something else I did yesterday was per cluster, tell me the most pressing issues we are facing. And then it asked me, I think the only follow-up question was, in what time frame? And I said last quarter. I'm not going to create that now because you already know how that's created. But then from only this instruction that you just saw, it created this report with an overview for each cluster, which is most urgent when it comes to issues. What are the issues at a high level, but then also a deeper dive for each cluster, top 3 issues, giving me more context, like what is the problem in that issue cluster, and what's the proposed fix. We try to really let Mara think for you, together with you, make suggestions, and then help you actually make use of all that feedback data that is there. And I don't want to go into the content of this, but I wanted to show you, like, with only this one small questions, like per cluster, tell me the most pressing issues. This was created. Toby already said earlier, it can be distributed to every recipient you want, and this is the PDF that people will then receive. Everyone can open that without needing to log in to Mara to help you distribute that knowledge across your company as you like. This is really it. I think that is what we wanted to show you. We have a lot of questions. I think, Toby, you monitored the chat a little bit, and maybe you can start to guide us through that, and I will try to catch up in parallel.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for the questions. That's great, especially Paula and Anastasia. I'll just go through all of the questions one by one, or we will go through the questions one by one. I'll start with the one from Paula. I think there are a couple of questions in there. First, how does the AI distinguish real operational trends from low review volume fluctuations? So the AI assistant has knowledge of what to flag, at least, right? So if you're asking for a trend graph for the last week, it will create a trend graph for the last week, where there's maybe for each day 1 review or 0 reviews, but it will flag that. It will ideally have like an info box below, hey, this is like low volume, and you see that in a lot of reports that there is like a warning somewhere that this is just a low volume fluctuation, and you should take care of. So basically, we trained the AI to watch out for that. Then second part of the question, how does it prioritize impact on guest experience versus frequency of mentions? I'll do a little detour here. We have an impact score within Mara, and this is calculated, or we try to calculate with the impact score, what is the overall impact of this topic on the overall rating in the account. And we calculate it basically from 2 parts. One part is, for example, if all your guests who left a comment about housekeeping rate your hotel lower than all hotel guests in the same period of time, this topic has a negative impact on your overall rating. And then the other component is the frequency of mentions that is used for the impact score as well. And this impact score can be used by the AI, of course. When does it pick to report the number of mentions? When does it pick the impact score? That depends on the task, but you can influence that as well when prompting and when creating the task or refining the task. So for example, when you create a task and it reported the number of mentions, for example, you can go into the task description that Max just showed and edit that and tell the AI, hey, please report the impact score for each topic, or rank by impact score instead of frequency of mentions. I'll just go through the next ones. Can the AI identify root causes, or does it mainly summarize complaints? I think it's partially answered. It can analyze all data that's in there. It doesn't just summarize the text. It is based on also our numeric analysis, our high-class sentiment analysis in the account. So it can read the impact score from topics, from the categories, and then drill into it. Can also read reviews. But it's not similar to the Ask Reviews Anything feature in Mara that summarizes reviews. It really has access to the KPIs and all data in Mara. And then I think the last.
But one thing to add here, like, we will be able to see everything that's in the data, right? I mean, if there is no root cause in the data because guests don't tell us, we will not know, but a good example is we did an analysis of issues with the breakfast with a test customer of ours, and we identified root causes for people not being happy with the breakfast, which was mainly replenishment of the buffet, which was that there only was one coffee machine because people were then lining up, and they added another coffee machine, which solved that. And there were different other things which I do not remember at the moment. But if people write about what's the problem actually and why are they unhappy, we will definitely be able to uncover that.
Two more questions from Paula. First one is there any predictive logic to detect issues before they impact the overall score? I would say no, because everything that lands in Mara is guest feedback from guests who checked out. And if they checked out and left a negative review and commented about some negative experience they had, and like left a 1-star review, it had already a negative impact on your ratings. So I think by nature, everything Mara analyzes is guest feedback post stay. So it did impact the ratings already. Yeah.
But Toby, correct me if I'm wrong. If there is something that is coming up lately, I can let the assistant look out for it. Like, is there anything that we see picks up in terms of mentions? We can actually flag that, and then you can obviously make sure that this doesn't become a bigger problem.
Yeah.
So
and
if that is predictive
absolutely.
for you, then we definitely are able to do it.
I'd say it's an early warning system, right, that you can set up with this, right? You can make sure this is, you know about that before it becomes big. You're basically, when there is, you can, for example, create a weekly report summarizing all negative feedback from the past week per property that is delivered directly to the GM's inboxes. And with that, they are aware of the negative points before, I don't know, there is the next quarterly report and it says the ratings of a particular property has been dropped significantly because of housekeeping issues or whatever. And then how does the system differentiate between structural property limitations from operational failures? This is something you can prompt into, right? So when creating the task definition, you can teach the system to only look out for certain aspects. So to for example, not focus your analyses on location because this is something you can't influence. We saw some of our users creating target reports, and they just created targets regarding category scores that they can actually influence, mainly staff, housekeeping, F&B, for example, but not related to location, for example, or parking. So that is something you can put into when creating a task, basically.
Quick note, we are recording this session. We will go through all the questions that you have asked us. If you need to jump, you will be able to find the answer in the recording.
Then there is an answer Max answered already. Next one is, can we have the properties listed in the fix report? So by default, the what to fix report is for one single property, and you can specify which one, right? Maybe Paula, you can write me the question afterwards, because the what to fix report by default is for one property, and you'll see that also in the report description. I would therefore jump to the next question coming from Anastasia. Can you show how to make this report for a specific period? For a month, for example, it gave me all available reviews for the property for the entire period, and referring to the room analysis report.
So this is about template usage, right?
Yeah, it's about template usage. Max, can you maybe, I'll add your screen to the stage. Can you maybe go into the task description?
Yeah, so basically, just as a reminder, Toby created this what to fix report from a template earlier. And this is why you were not asked about like what period of time do you want to analyze and so on. But we just set it up the way the template was kind of meant to, or was defined in the first place, right? And then, Toby, jump in if you want. You simply go to the task description, and then here you would give the agent the feedback of, I only want to analyze last full calendar. That's written wrong. Calendar, yeah, month.
Or you can directly edit it in the left, right? You see directly time period in the top, and it says analytics time period last full calendar quarter. This is the default for the water fix report. Actually, you're right, Anastasia. The room analysis report is created by default for all reviews, because then there's more data, and we assumed rooms do not change super frequently, but you can change that here. So basically, go to the task details, jump to task description, either edit it manually or go to like teach the AI or tell the AI on the right side. And I guess now you see it already, it changed it. You have to save it though. I'm not sure if you did that. After you edit it, you have to save the changes and then run the report again. That's important.
Yeah, I usually edit using the assistant on the right-hand side, because I'm not sure if there might be several places where what you want to change is in the instructions, which is why I usually use the right-hand side to do these changes.
This should also have answered the question from Paula, how to edit tasks. I saw, Paula, you mentioned that one of your requests failed with status code 500. Please share that with me via email, ideally with a screenshot. I'll look into it. When you mean like a task fails, that happens rarely, but it happens from time to time for various different reasons. And we'll try to fix them as soon as possible. So whenever a report fails, we'll anyhow notice that and try to fix those issues and prioritize them as quickly as possible. It doesn't happen often, but it can happen. It's still a beta feature. And as mentioned earlier, we'll try to put it out and give it in the hands of users as quickly as possible, and then improve as quickly as possible. So if you notice any of those things, what always helps is a screenshot what exactly fails, or ideally even a quick Loom video. I assume you mean a failed report, but I'm not 100% sure. So it would be great if you could just share the details with me via email. And with that, I would move on to the next question coming from Matilda. Can we select specific guests' demographics? This would be good to this would be to know what our target group thinks and remove reviews from guests that don't fit this core target. Unfortunately, this data is not yet available in Mara. I find it interesting though. Maybe there is an opportunity to get this data from a PMS integration. Would be great if you can just share what exactly you were looking for, what kind of demographic data would be interested, and if you, I know which PMS you're on, and I know we're connected to it. So it would be great if you can reach out and tell me what kind of data you're interested in, and then ideally also where it's available, if it's available in the PMS you're using, and then we can check if there might be an option to add that to the context that we pull from a PMS integration.
And we're also currently talking to some CRM systems about integrations, so that we could also think about pulling segments from there, and give us your ideas. We're always interested in what to add. What are you interested in? And then also we will always ask, like, what are you doing with it, in order to potentially also get or come up with better ways, easier ways to get to the same result. But always tell us what you want, and then we can think about how to solve it.
Yeah, I'll take over the next two questions from Anastasia. I think it's more of a feedback and feature wish, which I like. First one, can you make the reports be available in Excel? Heard that now a few times already, and I like the idea. Not yet in development, but the more often we hear about it, the more often, or the higher the likelihood we'll build it soon. Actually, to be transparent, the next couple of weeks are mainly about improving what we have and make sure it really runs. I'd say right now it runs at like 85% quality level. We'll try to push it to 95% at least. It should be as helpful as possible. And once this phase is over, and we'll look for the most meaningful improvements. Yeah, I heard the wish for Excel reports a few times. I still believe PDF report is the most important one to also share insights with less technical people in your team. I think something that I didn't mention before is something like an F&B report is super powerful, I believe, because you can share insights relevant to an F&B manager without them needing access to a Mara account. You can basically create or use the F&B template that we have, but you can create something similar for your housekeeping manager, for example, and they can receive basically insights from guest feedback in their inbox that is just relevant to them. And I think this is powerful to enable the whole team in a hotel to learn from this feedback without getting overwhelmed of another tool, a structure of another tool. You can basically define how the AI assistant should create the report, how it should structure the report, and then it will basically run on autopilot for you. But I hear or I totally understand the wish for a format like Excel that you can use to do some more analysis afterwards with. Then question about your regular report, review report. When will be the translation of original language of the review be available in English? I think it's your the Excel report, right? Let me look. I think we actually shipped some small feature for that already. Anastasia, maybe you can shoot me an email. If it's the or standard review Excel report, I think there is already a way to add like a translated column in there. Maybe we can chat about that by email and take it offline. And then question to you, Max.
Yeah, more like we can use almost all of the remaining questions also as a bridge to the wrap up, so to say. And I will, before answering our last question, also use Paula's questions again, which is in reports, what prompting approach works best for root cause analysis and prevention? And my suggestion would be that we do that together. We like to learn together with our customers, like, what do you try to achieve? And then we will try to get that report with you. And then also by doing that, learn what works with the assistant, what doesn't yet, and why so. And that's super important to also understand here. Toby said that in the very beginning. This is early beta. So we try to go out with new features as soon as possible and give it into the hands of customers as soon as we see they create initial value, to then improve them based on your feedback. So again, as Toby just said, we think this is super powerful and valuable already, but it will become better and better over the course of the next weeks and months. And why is that? Because we already received a ton of feedback, which is great. We can see what you try to do with it, and if it is not yet able to do it, we will try to make that happen. So this is a message to all of you. Use it, make use of the free beta, and that's the other question that I'm coming to in a second. As good as possible, extract as much value from it as possible to improve your operations, maybe inform investment decisions in your groups and hotels. and really, yeah, use that. We provide that for free at the moment. And this is coming to our last question, which is, I see it's free until July. What will be the fees after that? To be honest and transparent, we don't know yet. So our way of approaching this is giving it into the hands of customers, see what kind of value it creates, what the feedback is, how it gets better. And this is our first priority. Make it a human level assistant for you, helping you in your daily analyses, reporting, and so on and so on. And then we'll think about price. The only thing we know already is, as it creates so much additional value, it will be a paid add-on. What the price level is, we don't know yet. We don't even know the concrete structure of the pricing. What we can promise you is that we price it at a level where the price is much lower than the value it creates for you. So this is really the approach here, and excuse us that this is a little untypical, presenting something that we don't know a price yet for. But for us, the first and most important step is making it something which is really super, super valuable, and that only works when giving it into your hands and letting you play around with it for free, and bearing all the costs on our end. I think we don't have any questions left, if I'm right. So yeah, thank you very much for all your questions. Again, this is beta. Toby, is there any specific feedback that we're looking for? I'm always interested in way of delivery, like how would you want the reports to look, how long or short you want them, stuff like that, visual stuff to make it digestible, but then obviously also quality of things, right? What were you trying to achieve but weren't able to achieve with the assistant? Anything else to add, Toby, what we need?
No, really anything, I'd say. Mainly the negative aspects, of course, as is the feedback we'll learn most from. Obviously, we're always happy to hear positive feedback as well, but everything that doesn't work as expected when it comes to the quality, when it comes to the user experience, how you create tasks, how easy it is to set it up, how how it in the end looks. So everything that comes to your mind, you believe can be easier, should be easier, should be better. And when a report doesn't fit your initial intention, expectation, that quality feedback is important to us. Actually, right now we're still looking in each kind of request and each kind of report manually to try to understand what you try to accomplish and compare that with the output. But obviously, you're the one who you had the intent for the report, and we can't always we don't always know that just from your input. So whenever you have concrete feedback, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email directly. I'll put my email in the chat already, as Anastasia asked for it, and Max as well. So if you have any feedback, feel free to directly shoot it to us. It doesn't really matter of which type it is.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for listening to that, and then also obviously for another question. Sorry, another question. Since this will become a paid service in the future, could you elaborate on the key operational value and differentiation compared using external AI tools alongside manual reputation analysis? Maybe Toby, you can also jump in a second, but basically, we built something that knows how to use the data that is in Mara. And it's not only review data and counting some keywords, but the analysis that you see throughout the different screens, even without the assistant, is already there's already a lot of intelligence in there. And how we start things, how we group topics, how we calculate the impact that a topic has on your rating is all already very unique to Mara, and gives you, even without the assistant, the opportunity to actually see what impacts your rating, as an example. And then combining all of this data that's in the account and knowing how to combine it and how to read stuff. This is really, for me, that's the core strength of our own agent. And obviously it works out of the box, right? You do not have to set anything up externally and so on and so on. But maybe Toby, you want to add something?
Yeah, just another thing. If you have a lot of reviews, it will just not produce very accurate numbers. If you, I don't know, if you're managing a group of 10 hotels and ask for the most common complaint patterns within your whole group, it will just not work out very well if you put all of the reviews in Claude or ChatGPT and handle let the AI handle this massive review volume in one chunk. I think the AI is only good on top of good data and good data structure, and it just works on top of our good sentiment data, on our good structured data, on the filters you can apply on the data structure. So I think for some use cases you can use external AI tools, and we actually also think about building an own MCP server that you can then connect and use Claude yourself, right? So can also be a way that you can just use our agent tools and build everything yourself in Claude if you'd like. But a lot comes from context and data structure underneath. This is where a lot of value is created, and where a lot of generic approaches, if you don't put a lot of effort in building up the data foundation itself, will actually fail.
Yeah, and maybe one thing to add here, kind of basically as a cultural thing when it comes to Mara, we will never try to hinder you doing something on your own. Actually, we try to enable you. Just as Toby said, we have an open API where you get access to all your data and so on. We believe that for most hoteliers, getting something that works out of the box and is very, very simple is a good thing, and we try to build that. But if you want it, if you have the capabilities and the abilities to build something on your own, we will never try to hinder you from doing that. That's not something that we're doing as a company. Okay. Again, thank you very much. Thank you for your participation, for all the questions. That was cool. We're excited to see what you do with it, where you try to which reports you try to build, how you use it, get your feedback. Really exciting times for us. Initial feedback from the first beta customers really, really cool and helpful. So yeah, use it, make use of it. Let us know what you think. Give us any feedback that you think helps you getting the job done, because that helps us getting our job done. And have a wonderful Tuesday and a good rest of the week.
Thanks a lot.
Goodbye.